What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about the three things all QBs must do. So we're going to be talking about the mechanical aspects of the quarterback position and how you guys can be a more efficient and more accurate passer from the pocket and on the run and when you're off platform, okay? But also, guys, I want to talk to you about a QB 28-day gym workout plan. Quarterbacks can't be lifting in the gym like linebackers, running backs, and doing all this super heavy weight. They got to be able to keep mobility, keep arm strength, develop core strength. Check out that very first link in the description, guys, if you want a 28-day quarterback gym workout plan. 28 days of specific workouts. Here are some examples of the workouts, right? You got a lot of core specific stuff, leg specific stuff to help your arm strength improve, help your shoulder mobility improve, and to help your overall performance. Check out that very first link in the description for that 28-day plan. Hope to get you guys on that soon. Let's get started. So first thing we're going to look at here, the first thing that I want to talk about, one of the three things that you got to do, the first thing is weight transfer, okay? And what do I mean by weight transfer? I'm going to talk about the details of it. So we're looking at this story for Baker Mayfield. You see how much weight he's able to get to that front leg right there. So now the key on that and why that's important is because that helps with hip drive. So if you guys are familiar with this channel, you guys have heard me talk about hip and shoulder dissociation, rotating your hips. Your hips are what brings the football through. And that's kind of what this is all based down to. But the weight transfer is what gets you there, because here's the deal. When you strike the ground, right, with your foot strike, if you're not pushing off of this back leg and you're not getting weight from your back leg to the front leg, what's going to happen is you're going to strike the ground here, your weight's going to be shifted back, your back leg's going to trail behind you, and you're going to use your shoulders to throw. And that's why you see guys like to swing that elbow down, which pushes their release high, or open up that shoulder, which pushes their release outside of their frame, and they throw sidearm. But getting that weight to the front leg allows your hips to rotate through. Like if you're just sitting there right now, try standing up and have a lot of weight on your back leg, and try opening up your front hip without getting any weight to your front leg. Your front hip's going to lock out, right? Now try to get some weight on that front leg and then open up your front hip. And your front hip is much easier to rotate through, so that's kind of the position that you want to get to. So when you hit the top of your drop, top of whatever pocket movement, you want to be loaded back here. You want to be about, a lot of people say 60-40. I say like 75-25. You want to have a decent amount of weight back here without arcing your front shoulder and without having your shoulders like pointed up straight in the air. You want to just kind of shift your weight backwards. And if you can kind of shift your weight backwards, but to start that foot strike, you're nice and light on that front foot and you push off of that back leg. That back leg push is what creates the foot strike. That's what's going to get your weight over. And you see how much weight he's able to get to this front leg, and you see how much his hips are able to open up. Everybody loves to talk about external rotation and rotating from your hips, because you want to get this back hip to come through before this football comes through, because that's how you generate torque. The whole point of the hip drive is so you can generate torque. And you see how Mayfield is kind of almost like bringing his knees together right here? That's the position you want to be in. You don't want to let your back leg trail way behind. You want to be able to drive, get all your weight to that front leg so your front hip is allowed to open up, okay? Now, that front hip opening up, it doesn't work unless you combine it with correct upper half mechanics, right? So if you got that weight transfer, but you're still swinging that front elbow down, the ball's not going to go very well. It might have more velocity, but it's going to be out of control. You want to stay disciplined with your upper half. Make sure you keep that front hand nice and not necessarily tight to your frame, but somewhere up by your face, somewhere in front of your face, and not opening up your shoulder to where it points behind you, because that's how you lose power. You want to have that snap of the motion. On foot strike, you want to be closed like this, and then that weight transfer and hip drive is what snaps this ball through, and that's how you get that whippy and like twitchy motion that everybody loves to talk about, okay? So that's the number one thing that quarterbacks got to be able to do no matter what position they're in, whether they're off platform, from the pocket, going through progressions. You want to be light on your front foot, heavier weight on your back foot, like 75-25, be able to push, get that weight to the front leg, which allows your front hip to open up. Then you could rotate externally. You could have your shoulders back, get that nice, good snap of the motion, and generate torque if you don't swing this front hand out of there. That's a great job by Mayfield. Great mechanically sound throw. Let's watch this thing again full speed. He's able to drive, push, and transfer weight, fellas, to allow your hips to rotate through so you could give a good shot, okay? So now we're going to be looking at this clip here from Brady in the pocket. So the second thing that all QBs must do on the run is start their sequence, which I mean rotate their shoulders on the correct step. So let's watch this thing full speed. Now, you see how Brady takes this drop, and he conflict climbs, and then he takes 2 steps and lets this thing fly. Now, I suggest to anybody that if you think that this throw is easy, oh, he's just throwing on the run, it wasn't that good of a ball, it went in the ground, I suggest that you try this throw before you do it, because this is a throw that we work on with my quarterbacks here in Southern California. We work this conflict, so you take 1 step through, and then you only take 2 steps and throw. So you conflict right here, and you only move 2 feet. You just go left, then right. So you see how he gets set right here? Left, right, throw. It's one of the most uncomfortable throws you can make, especially when it's a throw this far downfield. And Brady being able to make this throw shows you how good his sequence is, how comfortable he is with his mechanics, how comfortable he is with the awkward situations. That's how you get better as a quarterback. You put yourself in those uncomfortable spots and you continue to work those uncomfortable spots, because I hate to break it to you, this right here is one of the most unpredictable things in the world. It's like the ocean. You just never know what's going to happen. It's super unpredictable. You can't predict it. You have to be able to be comfortable throwing from these weird angles. Now, what can bail you out is when you decide to rotate with your shoulders, right? On the run, you want to step with your throwing side leg. So in this case, it would be his right leg. You want to step with your throwing side leg in the direction of the target, right? Because we're trying to generate torque, much like the clip that we just talked about. So when he steps with his throwing side leg, right, you see how he's stepping in the direction of the throw. What is he doing? He's rotating back with his shoulders, because that right leg, that step with your right leg in the direction of the throw, that loads your hips up. That gets your hips angled towards the target. Now, your hips are going to be driving there just naturally, right? This is why guys who struggle with hip drive, we work a lot on the run so they could feel that kind of kinetic chain, as all the experts, quote unquote experts, like to talk about. But that right leg step and those shoulders rotating, that's that like coil, right? Your shoulders go back as your hips are going forward, or that dissociation, as everybody likes to say, right? So make sure that front shoulder rotates as your step gets to the ground. What a lot of guys will do is they'll step with their left leg and they'll rotate when their left leg's in the ground. They'll rotate right here. And then what happens is their right leg hits the ground, their front shoulder's coming open the same time their hips are driving through. And that's no different than spreading your chest open, like getting to that opposite 90-90 when your front foot gets down at a normal throw from the pocket. You want to be able to step through it, step at the right leg, rotate those shoulders, so when your left leg kicks through, you have that snap of the motion. Like that front hand almost comes back to your frame. You're not letting that shoulder swing out. And as you're kicking the left leg through, that's when you're letting go of this ball. And that's how you get that snap or that whip to the motion when you're on the run. So the second thing that all quarterbacks must do is when you're on the run, you got to make sure that you rotate those shoulders when you step with that right leg. Step with the right leg in the direction of the throw of the target. Rotate that front shoulder so you create that torque, create that whip of the motion, and then be able to kick that left leg through. A lot of guys, and somebody the other day, I made a video about throwing on the run. They're like, oh, no shit, you want to step at your target, right? Well, yeah, no shit, idiot, but I'd like to see you come out here and try it, because what they love to do, what people like to do, is with this second step right here, they point it towards the sideline, and then their hips end up going towards the sideline, and they throw across their body. That right leg has to be pointed directly in the direction of the throw. Being able to run full speed, being able to escape in this awkward situation, and still being able to point that toe, because that loads your hips. You combine that with shoulders and let this thing roll through. Let's watch this thing again, full speed one more time. So he's coming through here, conflict climb, 2 steps. Great job by Brady making this throw into a tight window. All right, so now we're going to be talking about off-platform, okay? So I think it would be only right to look at Josh Allen here, one of the best guys throwing off-platform, him and Mahomes, right? And if you're a quarterback and you're a younger guy, I suggest that obviously you got to build mechanics, you got to build good habits. But once you get to that high school level, man, this game is constantly changing. This is something that a lot of college coaches look for in quarterbacks. Are you able to make those throws with your feet not set? Can you put yourself, again, uncomfortable situations where your hips are squared up to the line of scrimmage, but you still got to be able to generate torque and be accurate? How can you be able to do that? So this is tip number 3. Third thing quarterbacks must do is be disciplined with their front side when they don't have their feet set, okay? So what a lot of quarterbacks like to do, they get momentum going towards the sideline, and when they go to throw, they're right here. This front shoulder kills them, and this front hand kills them. They love to swing it out towards the sideline. You guys want to pretend, you guys want to fight the urge to swing. You want to pretend like there's just a door right here and or a wall. And if you bail your shoulder out of there and you pull your elbow, a lot of guys like to pull. A lot of guys will be right here. They'll get in this good backstroke. Feet aren't necessarily set, and they'll pull that elbow for power. You still want it to be your hips. You still want to have good lower half mechanics, right? And you guys should probably check out my other videos for like lower half off-platform mechanics. We're not going to get into it today, but that's a big part of it in terms of your foot strike. You see guys like Aaron Rodgers all the time work that little pop step, that little hop step. That matters because it's all about weight transfer, which brings me back to the very first thing we talked about. But let's say your lower half is clean. Your upper half is what ties into this thing and being consistent with your release point. Because you see when Allen rotates through, that hand just almost pulls back to his chest. And you see how his upper half, you could draw almost a perfect square in the direction of the target. Shoulders are level, hips are level, and his hand stays right by his face or right by his collarbone. He doesn't pull down and he doesn't pull open. open. And he fights that urge, and he's able to just rotate right down. Like if he had a pole going down the middle of his back, like let's say there was a pole right here down the middle of his back, he would just be able to rotate through. Now, being square is so important because your release point stays consistent. You can just, wherever you flick that wrist, wherever you decide to let that follow through go, that's where that ball is going to go because you're disciplined. But if you start to open up, your body split down a midline, your arm's going to fly. If you pull that front elbow down, your release is going to go high, and we're not going to be able to change up that level because my mechanics are flawed. But if you stay disciplined with your front side, you don't let your elbow swing down, you don't let your shoulder open up, your release can stay consistent, and wherever you want to flick that wrist, that's where the ball could go. That's why you see guys like Mahomes, they're able to change up arm angles, Lamar Jackson, whoever. Their front side is disciplined because then they can just trust their hands, quote unquote. That's something that I like to tell my quarterbacks, trust your hands. Let your hands go in the direction of the target. If your mechanics are clean, your hands will get you there, okay? Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming off here. Make sure those hips rotate through. Pull that hand back to your chest. Make sure that my front side is disciplined so I can make these off-platform throws. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want a 28-day specific quarterback gym workout plan, again, all the things quarterbacks need to do in the gym, not the heavy lifts that are going to put strain on your shoulder, hurt your rotator cuff, all of the things that quarterbacks specifically need to do to improve performance. Check out that very first link in the description. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave those in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you guys next time.